Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens. Life ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win. I don't want no fake love, I want the real stuff. Everybody listen up, cause I'll only say it once. I'm gonna show you all the path, if you want it bad. I'm gonna show you where it's at, yeah, how you can get it back. Yeah, cause I ain't never done, I'll be number one. Working hella hard until I get just what I want, yeah. Rises like the sun, yeah, fatal like a gun. Shooters gonna shoot and I'm gonna shoot until I won, yeah. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win, yeah. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens. Life ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win. I don't want no fake love, I want the real stuff. Everybody listen up, cause I'll only say it once. I'm gonna show you all the path, if you want it bad. I'm gonna show you where it's at, yeah, how you can get it back. Yeah, cause I ain't never done, I'll be number one.
So the title of this live stream, what's up boys, hope you're great, happy Saturday, happy spring, is TRT hacking tools, cream prop AIs, and possibly we'll get into some nootropics. Now, the reason, look, TRT is notoriously hard to dial in. I mean, it isn't just that, you can get a prescribed protocol and that protocol is going to work. It really all depends. People have varying degrees of body fat. People have varying degrees of things that make them convert more testosterone to estrogen. People's androgen receptors might be downregulated. People may need more testosterone via, so that they can upregulate dopaminergic pathways to have libido. People may need more testosterone and controlled estradiol to upregulate their nitric oxide pathways. It's just very, very complex. And one size fits all is never going to work, obviously. And so there are tools. When it comes to TRT, I think you have to approach it with a degree of specificity that allows you to manipulate your protocol very, very finely. Okay? Because sometimes it's in the finer strokes, not just changing something major, where you get the best results. And that's why on the thumbnail, I've got the following items as tools. Number 1, testosterone propionate. Okay? Fast-acting ester, onsets in 2 to 5 hours, peaks in 2 to 5 hours, I should say. Last most of the day, starts troughing, but you're still therapeutic later at night. By the time you go for your next injection the next day, or if you dose a lot on a day, the 2 days later, you still have somewhat therapeutic levels of testosterone in your blood, but it's lowering, and which for some people is a good thing. Secondarily, testosterone cream. Okay, this is testosterone cream. I was prescribed this some time ago. I intermittently use it. It's very effective. Very, very effective. And what's effective or useful about having testosterone cream in your regimen, or at least around as a tool, is that, so many things. You can modify the protocol. 1 click, 2 clicks of the cream, a half click of the cream, whether scrotal application, shoulder application, chest application, inner thigh application, inner arm application, bicep application, to match your goals. And it's such a fast acting but short-lived testosterone option that you can dial the protocol in without having to wait 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks for it to get completely out of your system. It's out of your system very, very quickly. So testosterone cream is a very, very useful thing to have around. Next is anastrozole, but specifically the 0.125 milligram tablets of anastrozole. Okay, this is prescribed to me by Empower. And even these though are pretty strong. Like even these can be a little too strong. So where the real toolage comes in is in getting yourself a pill cutter. Okay, this is a pill cutter. I'm going to take 0.125 milligrams of anastrozole, just a small little compounded tablet. We're going to put that tablet on the pill cutter. We're going to cut it in half. Okay, so now you have 0.06, right? 0.06 milligrams anastrozole. You can take that, which is usually effective. Here's where I'm going to give you like the best tool ever if you actually want to not get side effects from anastrozole and have it lower your estradiol just enough to where erectile function and sexual function is great. You place that half back on the old pill cutter. You cut that in half. And now you have a 0.03, it's not going to really be able to focus, a 0.03 milligram tablet, effectively, if you will, of anastrozole. You're not going to crash your E2 using a 0.03 milligram, small little fourth of a tablet of anastrozole. You're not going to do it, right? Especially if your TRT dose is therapeutic enough where your levels are high enough and E2 is high enough to where you're not going to crash it, but you're going to take it from 45 to 30, or you're going to take it from 39, which some people think is okay, and it may be for some guys, but absolutely it's atrocious for others, down to 28. And, that's therein lies your perfect sweet spot. You could run 0.03 of anastrozole every 5th day, every 6th day, maybe once a week. It really depends on how you respond to that drug. So the reason that I've got, if you think about the theme across all these compounds, very low dose compounded anastrozole with a pill cutter where you can make it lower, testosterone propionate, testosterone and testosterone cream, is that all of these allow you to make changes in your TRT protocol that are not very significant changes, that are small little changes at a time, and that allow you to quickly get dialed in. if you're one of those people that likes to make changes or wants to make a lot of changes in a TRT protocol a lot, you are going to have a very difficult time on long esters, right? Cypionate, enanthate, especially cypionate. Enanthate's a little shorter, maybe a little better for some people. You know, it kind of depends. But if you like to change things a lot, you're going to have a rough fucking time, man, on long esters without these tools. I'm not saying everybody should go get some prop. I mean, this stuff hurts to inject unless you're doing it intramuscularly. You really should just inject it, I guess. I am if you're afraid of the PIP. And the PIP does absolutely suck. Anastrozole 0.125 tablets and some cream and a pill cutter, okay? If you really want to dial a protocol in, those are your best options. You got a short-acting ester, you got short-acting but fast-acting cream. You can manipulate the AI dose. Sometimes all it takes with an AI, guys, all it takes with, you know, what's in here is 0.03 milligram little slabs of anastrozole. It's so little. We're not going to crash estrogen. Sometimes all it takes to get erection quality back, libido back, or to keep it really great on TRT is one of those per week. Now, you tell me, you know, that the guys that are complaining about the potential for bone mineral density problems, what are the other major cardiac issues, etc. You tell me if those guys have a fucking problem with 0.03. It's negligible. It's negligible. Now, I'm not saying anastrozole is a great drug. It's actually a terrible drug, right? Because it's dosed too high. You have to be able to manipulate it to 0.03, 0.06, you know, 0.125 even. Guys that have a lot of aromatase activity because they're overweight or drink a lot or have a really high dose of test and HCG, they might need more. They might need more. If you're one of those guys, fine. You know, if you dose anastrozole right, you do not get side effects, okay? You only get a better TRT experience, a better functioning dick, a better functioning fucking libido, and you feel great, okay? So those are the tools to truly hack a TRT protocol. I'm not saying longer esters are terrible. I'm saying they're harder to dial in. A lot harder to dial in. And if you're meticulous about it and want to make changes, a lot of changes, you know, you're going to want to run a shorter ester or some cream. You know, I ran cream for about a month. This was after a prop experiment and before I ended up going back on testosterone cypionate some time ago. And I liked it. Okay. Hard to find the right dose. It really ended up being about a click in the morning and then a click later. Couldn't rub it on the testicles because then my DHT would shoot up, which you would think is great, but my test really wouldn't. So I kind of like an even balance of both. Easier to control estradiol on the cream as far as I can tell, and at least in my experience and some others. And it onsets instantly. You rub that shit on, you go to the gym, you're already peaking, dude. You're going to peak very, very quickly. And you'll peak into super physiologic levels with cream. 1300. You get to feel what 1300 nanograms per deciliter of total test fucking feels like. It's a different world, bro. I mean, you don't need an energy drink at that point. So anyway, moving on to questions. If you got them, post them. Joe Isaac, you were the first person ever, not just on YouTube, who focused on the importance of the power of dopamine in day-to-day life. Respect back, brother. Yeah, it's important, man. I mean, I have been in dopamine deficient or dopamine, deficient states before, and it's not fucking fun, especially when I was younger, when I didn't pay attention to it or wasn't supplementing correctly. I went on wacky diets at various points when I was younger, getting into biohacking, believing stuff rather than figuring it out for myself and whatever. But dopamine is something that you also have to constantly maintenance, you know? I mean, Parkinson's is a disease for a reason. Like, people get it. People have dopamine dysfunction. It's one of the most common things to have dysfunction in. And, you know, I'm on day 14 or 15 or something, I think 15 of 9-MEBC, rocking my world. Every time I run it, it optimizes the system. So it's very important to focus on dopamine as a neurotransmitter to make sure it's adequate and healthy. So a lot of different pathways you can manipulate to reach that or to make that happen, not the least of which is going on TRT. John Doe saying Ryan represents 100% underground breakthrough info nootropic community for real. Appreciate that, brother. Yeah, man. I mean, all I'm really trying to do on this channel is take what is my neurotic hobby and share it, because I do this stuff for real, for real. Letrozole or exemestane? Definitely exemestane. I think letrozole is like, letrozole would be like a wrecking ball to estradiol. Like, one of those real big wrecking balls that get used at big construction sites or to knock down buildings. And exemestane is more like, I don't know, like a small little backhoe that just like can knock down like half the wall, but that's all you really needed to knock down. You didn't need to knock down an entire 7-story building. So yeah, letrozole is going to crush your estradiol into the ground. It's very hard to dose. I wouldn't even try microdosing it. Exemestane is much, much better. People prefer different AIs for different reasons. It's hard for me to say. I think generally probably exemestane might be better because it's it's somewhat more natural. Your body makes a little bit of it, I guess, and it's a slower reduction of estradiol over a 3 to 4 day period. But at the same time, Arimidex, if you can get the dose right and you're dosing micro doses of it and not, taking big doses of it, and you know how to use it, which is very hard to do, so I make videos about it and talk about it a lot, is also very effective because it can lower your estradiol in 2 hours. It can work right away, and you'll have no erections, no libido. Take a little bit of an anastrozole, fixes it by the next day. You're having nocturnal erections that night. So, it's different between AIs, of course, but, quite honestly, I don't know. It's hard to say if I were to pick one, it'd probably be Arimidex because, again, as we talked about in the beginning, TRT hacking tools, in here are 0.03 slabs of anastrozole. It's such a low dose. It literally causes no side effects, no arthralgia or joint pain, no excessive pissing, no low E2 symptoms. You just have to dose it right. You got to dose it right, guys. Ginkgo, pretty epic stuff. Ginkgo elevates like all neurotransmitters and increases your antidiuretic hormones. You retain a little bit of water. It increases brain acetylcholine. It also forces some dopamine release, I believe, as well. Joe Isaac, is 9-MeO-BC an alternative to cabergoline? Cabergoline is mad dangerous. Yeah, now that you just read that on the internet, cabergoline isn't dangerous. Cabergoline in doses dosed comparable to the people who dose cabergoline for Parkinson's is dangerous over many, many years at a cumulative dose, meaning they accumulate 200 milligrams of it over time. And then you run the risk of cardiac chamber issues. And that's essentially it, which are easily reversible upon cessation of the drug. Again, we run into this all the time, but there's a lot of fear mongering and this is dangerous, so don't touch it kind of thing. Like, people haven't really interpreted the literature. Actually, in doses that people use for prolactinomas, which is what anyone who has elevated prolactin but doesn't have a pituitary tumor would use, it's actually been deemed safe. And none of these, cardiac ventricle issues happen on those doses. Again, though, if you're doing that for 3 years and you reach a cumulative dose of 200 milligrams, then you can run into that issue. You're running a 0.25 milligram cycle once a week or twice a week for 8 weeks to get your prolactin down. And if you don't have a tumor, it'll be down sooner than that. That's not dangerous at all. So no, 9-MeO-BC is really not an alternative. They do different things. However, 9-MeO-BC can lower prolactin. Never heard of Tax 63. Carnivore diet. Yeah, well, until the wheels fall off the bus from not eating carbohydrates, and that will happen to everybody. You need to refeed, and then you'll be fine. Yeah, this is not good advice, guys. Not good advice. Don't do that. Don't do that ever. Mohammed, who will be fine to take Mucuna purines 5 days a week? I don't really see a problem with Mucuna 5 days a week. The only issue you probably run into is just some overstimulation. I mean, that's what happens when adrenaline is peaking. Noradrenaline first and then adrenaline. So those things are going to peak when you're taking Mucuna because, your brain's going to convert it to dopamine and then norepinephrine and then epinephrine. And those two latter catecholamines can make you feel a little anxious. So if I were you, I would find the dose that works for me to be able to take it 5 days a week. Like, for me, that'd be like 500 milligrams a day. Any more, and it's just overstimulating and entirely too much. Fantastic List is saying, assuming there's dopamine down regulation with IBS and gut motility drugs work by antagonizing dopamine from that 9-MeO-BC to restore Mucuna to boost, what would you suggest? Yeah, you keep asking questions about this, and your IBS is almost definitely not dopamine mediated. Okay, it's not. You can have an antagonist of dopamine somehow provide you some benefit, but I would wager it's just doing something else. Though dopamine is involved in gut motility, there are many more things that are involved in gut motility than just dopamine. And you know, IBS is indicating that your motility is working entirely too fast. So, you know, I mean, there's just other things that I would be trying. Like, I'd have to really get into looking at it and looking at the variety of fucking different things that contribute to that whole system, not the least of which is, like, you know, the breakdown between gram negative and gram positive species and the potential overgrowth of some gram negative species that actually facilitate motility in crazy ways. So, you know, I think I want to give you advice on this, and the best advice I can give you is stop looking at dopamine. Look at other things, because there are many other things that, you know, contribute to gut issues or can help gut issues or are part of gut issues. Rupam is saying, my wife is losing hair. Any suggestions? Hormone replacement or minoxidil? Though she's in her 20s. I tell her check her T4, T3, reverse T3, TSH, you know, thyroid antibodies, and see if she's got a thyroid hormone problem. Because that would be my first guess, like, on why the hell that's happening. I wouldn't suggest using DHT, you know, inhibitors, even if they're topical. Just not something you want to do. There's got to be a reason for it. Look at all hormones. I guarantee something's out of whack. AD with the 1799, or H. You're an H. Triple H, maybe? The wrestler? Is that you? I truly appreciate your amazing content. Can you make a video on donepezil? TAC 53. Okay, so TAC 653, not sure what that is. I think the donepezil drug is a cholinesterase inhibitor, if I remember correctly, or it prevents the breakdown of acetylcholine, the hydrolysis of acetylcholine, effectively, which will just keep some choline around. Frankly, you're better off in regards to that drug using huperzine A or galantamine. As far as this other drug, I do not know what that is. Josh says, you weren't kidding about higher dose 9-ABC to 33 milligrams. Been feeling crazy good. Absolutely. This stuff is super noticeable right away. I mean, I'm on day 15, I think, and I just, right after I dose it, I notice it. I'm also dosing test in the morning as well, so there's a lot going on, and a supplement regimen, but holy moly. Just, again, like, one of the major points I made on the recent 9-ABC video was, like, that things you take for granted in life, that you're just like, yeah, whatever. I'm used to this good thing that's been happening that maybe I achieved a long time ago, or I don't know, like, just look around at your house, look around at your apartment, look around at your backyard, your dog. How many things you take for granted that you don't actually allow them to give you enjoyment, or your brain can't allow you to have enjoyment from them. When you start optimizing dopamine, and especially with 9-ABC, you just inherently enjoy them. It's really cool. Kind of makes you think your baseline state, you kind of need to get to the bottom of why you're not enjoying things. Usually neurotransmitter or hormone mediated. DJ Millen says, hey Ryan, I ran your mastic gum cycle for 2 months, doing a maintenance dose for another month, and I've had no IBS flare-ups in the past 2 months. See, the other guy who was talking about IBS really needs to look into this, because mastic gum is a powerful eliminator of Helicobacter pylori. You may not think you have H. pylori because you tested negative, but there's a 56% false negative rate with that bacteria. We all have it. It just overgrows in some people and becomes a problem. Here's a person who took my advice and took mastic gum, and they haven't had fucking IBS flare-ups. That's life-changing, guys. That's life-changing. That stuff there, it's like you can get Jarrow's mastic gum, which is pretty good. I feel like it loses potency the more it sits in the bottle. You can actually smell it. You smell it right away. It's very piney and crazy. And then after 20 days, if you haven't used a lot of it, it starts to lose that smell. So, you know, you got to kind of take it quickly or keep buying it, have the budget for it. Or, you know, you can get more powerful true mastic gum that isn't capsuled. The capsule stuff will work, but this other stuff, which is real, it's like gooey little crystals of mastic gum, you know, and that might be useful for people that regular mastic gum supplements don't work for gut issues. But in this case, it worked. Balancing choline intake with huperzine A. Generally speaking, you don't want to take any cholinesterase inhibitors unless for short, acute bumps of acetylcholine for performance, like studying or something, you know. That's really all I would use them for. Like, that's all I use them for these days, like those. I mean, I haven't really taken huperzine A in a while. It'd just be 50 to 80 micrograms, and they'd be like, all right, for 5 hours, I feel really good. Brain function's good. I don't have any side effects, and I can perform well. That's how I would approach that. And regarding choline intake, you really don't need a whole lot of choline, if any. I would rely solely on food sources of choline when huperzine A or galantamine or other similar compounds are in your regimen. Yeah, because then you run a risk of too much choline. You don't want to feel what that feels like. Low dose aromasin, a good idea for lowering estrogen plus raising T. If you're not on testosterone, potentially. I mean, yeah, that would work if you're not on testosterone, but you'd want to be dosing 3.25 milligrams. And if you're not on test, that shit can drop your estrogen way too low, and you're not going to feel good. You're going to feel very bad. Zach is now banned from the chat forever. Yeah, you don't say stupid shit like that, Zach. So, sorry, brother. Hold on a sec. Let me just adequately do this. Just make sure this retard is banned. Okay. Bye, Zach. Thanks for being an idiot. Okay. Let me put the pop out chat back. All right, cool. This should work. You guys fucking ready for the spring or what, man? Are you ready to go outside again? Are you ready for it not to be cold? Are you ready? I don't know why I can't get my chat. There we go. Thoughts on tadalafil? I think it's pretty epic. 5 milligrams a day is like kind of what people on TRT use, or it's suggested to use. I like it. It makes erections firmer. Definitely. Has some other cardiovascular benefits. Has some benefits to giving you a noticeable pump in the gym. I mean, if you can tolerate 10 milligrams a day, you're just going to get benefits tenfold, like multifold more than 5 milligrams. And that seems to be pretty safe for a good degree of people. Check with your doc. Check your blood pressure, because it can lower it. It doesn't really fuss with my blood pressure all that much. It did, interestingly, a while ago, but doesn't anymore. I like it. I think it's just one of the safest, easiest to use, pro-erectile or erectile enhancing drugs, you can get your hands on. I think tadalafil is great. It also has neurological benefits, and I did a full breakdown on repairing people's brains post-stroke and in allowing you to increase cerebral blood flow in a way that's reparative or helps cognitive function. I covered a wide array of anecdotals of people that had anhedonia, that were depressed, that just didn't have good brain function, and then started taking tadalafil, an erectogenic drug, and had alleviation from those symptoms. So I think the stuff is very, very powerful. Yes, keep taking that masticum, man. Keep taking it. Take good quality. And if the stuff you're taking doesn't work, then switch to more pure, less non-supplement form masticum and see how you fare. Mohammed is saying, is it possible to still feel anhedonic from ashwagandha months or years after stopping it? Yeah, first of all, I would say make sure ashwagandha caused it. There's a lot of speculation about that on the web, and usually it's in the context of experimenting with a lot of other things. So I'm not saying it can't, but to answer your direct question, yes, it is possible if ashwagandha did cause that for you still to feel anhedonia if you haven't worked on recovering dopamine, which is usually the problem there. And it may not be as simple as 9-MeBC. I mean, you might have overfiring of serotonin, you might have underfiring of serotonin, you might have something that's unexplainable that only cerebral lysin will fix, because it's just going to upregulate a bunch of neurotrophic factors that fix things in your brain. You might need to run a cycle of cerebral lysin, 2 milliliters every other day for 2 weeks. See how you fare. Take off 2 weeks, run a cycle of 9-MeBC at 30 milligrams for 20 days straight. Those are the kind of things that you would do to recover from anhedonia. And ideally, you should be taking hormones at the same time. I don't know if black maca has an effect on estrogen. I imagine it does, though, but very mildly. That and testosterone. I forget exactly mechanism for that, but there's something. Josh, in the context of taking 9-MeBC, Says, drove around all day yesterday. Didn't notice extra burning from the sunlight. Yeah, things just look brighter and cooler. Absolutely. Yeah, man. I haven't gotten it either, the photosensitive reaction. So I'm thankful for that, because it doesn't seem like it feels good to do that, to have that. Otherwise, I'm just getting nothing but benefits, with the exception of mild nausea. That was like 4 days in a row, and then that died down. Morning, Donald Pump. Hope you're doing great, bro. For irritation and social anxiety, is HDAC inhibition or exposure the best option? Should racetams be used? Honestly, for social anxiety, the best thing you can do is raise testosterone and keep estradiol between 20 and 35 picograms per milliliter. That's going to be the best thing you can do. Secondary, because like you can modify neurotransmitters and all this, because it's just going to be temporary. You got to have your hormones about you straight, and especially testosterone. It'll make you a different person. Secondly, though, have something in your life, like things that you've achieved that make you who you are, you know? Like, I am a combat vet that owns and runs 2 companies and is a successful entrepreneur that has a good social life in a major city. That's my life, right? So I'm confident because that's who I am. So build your life around things that you can be confident about. Lastly, don't hang around people who are judgy, or who are cliquey, or who are excessively ideologic. And there is a political orientation that is excessively ideologic, and you guys know what it is. Stay away from those people, and then you're going to have a lot better time, regarding social anxiety. If I, went to a local Cheers bar and the people there were all people I don't like, because they don't talk about anything like worth talking about, there's no depth to the conversations that they have, or they just say stupid shit, I'd be socially anxious. Even who I am, I'd be socially anxious, because they're all weirdos, So yeah, I wouldn't be fussing with transmitters. I would optimize hormones and then follow that other advice too. What if physiological dose of TRT doesn't provide full relief of symptoms of hypogonadism? Should I run physiologic doses? Supra physiologic. Well, yes, potentially. Potentially you might need to be at 12 or 13 or 1400. Also, though, estradiol is such a sneaky hormone that past a certain range, it's just going to inhibit a lot of the positives from TRT, especially the sexual benefits. So this is why this is titled TRT Tools, and one of the best tools you could have available is 0.03 slabs of anastrozole. Those are all small little 0.03 milligram slabs of anastrozole. Okay, this is a 0.125 milligram tablet prescribed to me from Empower. I cut these in half, and then I cut them in half again. I'm going to need 0.03, which is just enough to take the E2 down a little bit and not fuck with libido, but make erections better. It's perfect. So that might be your problem. The problem could be you're not injecting as much enough at once, and you're micro injecting. That works for some people. It doesn't work for other people, and they're going to need to inject at least 50 milligrams at once, 50 milligrams 3 times a week, or 60 milligrams every other day. Some people are going to need to inject a whole 120 on a Friday and inject another 120 on the next Friday. They need a trough in between, because they're not saturating with estradiol constantly when you're troughing, which is a good thing, contrary to the Reddit bros. So I think there's just a lot of different things that can contribute to, maybe you should go on cream, test cream. It onsets very quickly. There's a little bit less conversion to estradiol. You're probably going to make a little more DHT, even if you're rubbing it on your shoulders. You rub it on the testicles, you'll make a lot more DHT and less test, which may be beneficial, may not be beneficial. Wasn't for me. So there's a lot of things you could do. You could go on test prop, which is a fast acting ester, which, will peak in 2 to 5 hours. Gives you a little post-injection pain, but if you do shallow IM, it's the PIP is actually a lot more tolerable. And then you get to modify your protocol by the day, or every other day. You can modify it, change the dose, see how you feel. You're going to be peaking to super physiologic or close to, depending on your dose ranges that day. So you get to see, how you respond to things. So I think there's just so many things. I had a guy recently come to me who was micro-injecting and had a horrible time on TRT. The moment we got him on one injection, same dose of testosterone, just one injection a week, fucking remarkably better in every facet, and the facets that aren't better right away will get better. Element is saying there's no protocol of TRT that I can run without an AI. What advice do you have for dialing an E2? Yeah, I've been saying it the whole time, 0.03 milligram chopped slabs of a 0.125 milligram tablet of anastrozole. 0.03 is not going to crash anyone's estrogen. It shouldn't give you joint pain or any other weird sides. That is my go-to dose at this stage for anastrozole, because I have over time just body fat down. I don't drink anymore. I eat better. I'm healthier. I just don't aromatize a lot. Like I aromatize, right? But I'm dosing 500 IU HCG every other day. And at this point, 175 milligrams test. I still aromatize. I still have to use an AI every now and then. And it's just as needed. Like if erections start being a little piss poor, I've noticed that right away. I'll give it a couple days. Maybe it's a fluke, but usually isn't. Usually E2 creeping up. A little bit of anastrozole. You're blocking a little bit of conversion for a little bit of time. Homeostasis balances back out. That's honestly the best way to deal with it. Now, you could be taking calcium deglucarate as well, but that also will, it's like, it will indiscriminately lower both androgens and estradiol because it's blocking their reabsorption, in your liver via optimizing detox pathways. So, I mean, while it seems to be somewhat selective regarding estradiol, I'm pretty sure it's still going to make you eliminate androgens too. So you got to be careful with that stuff. Now, it might be effective for you because maybe your dose is too high. Who knows? I've seen it be very effective. So those are really your two options. I'm not a huge fan of lowering your TRT dose to nothing to, keep estradiol at 25 because you may not get, some people will, and they can tolerate it, but you may not get the full therapeutic benefits of testosterone at 90 milligrams a week. I did an experiment just to see, okay, how low could I take estradiol without an AI? And what would the dose do if I just lowered it? I took it from 140 to 133 to 112 to 98 to 70. And then it stayed at 70 for a while. E2 went to 13. Total test went to 576. I felt like fucking garbage. Lowered my estradiol, didn't I? But felt like fucking garbage. And even when estradiol was at 21, total test was like 6 something. I still felt okay, but still a little garbagey, a little like trash. I feel better super physiologic. That's just it. I feel really good at very high levels of testosterone. So long as I'm controlling crit, which I'm not a smoker. I don't eat like shit. Generally it's easy. Although I just had to, probably because of prop, do a therapeutic phlebotomy, which was the first time on, years of TRT that I've had to give blood. And it was fine. I walked away fine. A little fatigued a couple days later. I got to run hematocrit here in a little bit. Thank you, brother. Do I have a TRT clinic you recommend? Yeah, I would say Defy Medical would be the best one, but make sure if you get with Defy that you get the clinician that you like, or the consultant. They have it, different providers there that are your point people. Here's your point man. Here's your point woman. For a while, I had a woman named Christian who was very unresponsive and didn't understand my situation, or if I wanted to modify one thing or the other, she just didn't. I think she's very novice and they shouldn't have her on board, to be honest. Or she should be doing something else. But, changing it to another one of their guys and it was just so much better. So Defy Medical, find the right provider, find the right guy or person that you consult with there that you like. If you get somebody you really don't like, change it. You can ask and request to change your provider there to someone else, and you'll have a much better time. But definitely Defy Medical. I mean, dude, they have cream if you want to try cream, and they'll let you if you want to try it. They've got propionate if you want to try it, and they'll let you if you want to try it. They've got compounded anastrozole where you can get very low dose. They even can make you 0.06. Defy Medical, definitely. Would I recommend a 23-year-old try TRT or try natural? It depends on where your levels are. I mean, who am I to tell you you're too young? Generally, you're too young. But I mean, if you're sitting at 200 and you got to find the reason why. Do you have a prolactinoma and that's inhibiting gonadotropin release? You got to figure that out. You do that by looking at prolactin labs and seeing if they're elevated. Are you drinking a lot and you're converting your test to estradiol? Do you have some genetic problem? Is there drug you're taking from pharmaceutical world that is inhibiting gonadotropin release and thus testosterone, synthesis, that could be a problem. I'd want to look at everything. I'd want to, if I were you, I'd try naturally first for sure. Otherwise go on TRT. If that doesn't work and you've looked at everything, including thyroid hormone numbers, which if you're hypothyroid and then you fix it, but you're hypogonadal and hypothyroid, you will no longer be hypogonadal after you fix your thyroid hormones. Definitely. When do you take an anastrozole in coordination with your shot? It's not in coordination with injections. I'm running test prop 175 milligrams a week, which is 25 milligrams a day. Alternatively, prior, my other best TRT protocol is 60 milligrams of testosterone cypionate every other day. So 30 milligrams a day, but really just the bolus injections made more of a difference. And that'd be fine. So if I started that in 2 days, I just didn't take any prop for 2 days, and I started the 60 milligrams of SIP every other day, it'd probably be about 7 days or so until erections started to kind of be weaker, and nocturnal erections would be like weaker or go away, at which point I'd dose 0.03 or 0.06 milligrams of anastrozole, and that would resolve it very quickly within a day. So it's not in coordination with testosterone, injections. It's as needed for me. Yeah. And sometimes, there'll be weeks where I really don't need to take an anastrozole at all because previous doses have lowered the estradiol, just sorcery is happening and it's not rising past a certain point. Who knows, but again, when erections and libido start to suffer and they're consistently suffering, 2-3 days, I'm like, okay, I don't even really have to test estradiol because it takes 7 fucking days to get a response. To get the result back on estradiol sensitive. It's bullshit. It should be like hematocrit or, whatever. A CBC takes a day. That's like 20 different markers. It's ridiculous. So I just know my body and know what to do at that point. Aron is saying, how would you say tyrosine boosts dopamine? How much? And if so, yeah. So the increase in dopamine is about a 3-hour period after dosing. But, and then it should go back to basal levels of perhaps a little bit lower than basal levels is what the literature says. And Huberman's breakdown of this actually aligns with the literature. So that's one thing Huberman's right about because he's been wrong about other things. But, dopamine, though, it can rise fast, but it actually moves slow. Meaning if you elevate dopamine, there'll probably be positive changes that happen over the next couple days, even when dopamine goes back down. Because dopamine triggers all kinds of like different other things, like oxytocin neurons and all kinds of shit. So you're looking at a 3-hour boost, after which you'll probably have some ongoing dopamine benefits. To lower SHBG, you'd want to either inject testosterone. You would want to take Proviron, which is an anabolic steroid, which is pretty useful, very useful for lowering SHBG. Otherwise, I think that boron will do that to some extent, and that's all I know regarding lowering SHBG. Best things to take for social anxiety. Phenibut doesn't seem to work well. Testosterone. Yep. Get you some cream, get some test prop, or whatever ester you end up wanting to run, and go to town. Yeah, I mean, like I said in the beginning, I kind of just talked about this maybe 30 minutes ago. Like, number one, testosterone, hugely important for social anxiety, for social confidence. 2, make your life about something where you have achievements and shit. Like, who are you? How are you different from any other guy? From 27-year-old Eric who drives his Honda Accord and has one of those big earrings where his ear stretches out, and he's wearing some punk rock shirt, and he's got $270 in the bank, and he smokes fucking weed all day. How are you different from him? You know what I mean? What are you doing? Do you have achievements? Make yourself someone significant. You'll have a lot more confidence. And then lastly, don't hang out with excessively ideological people or people that are judgy and cliquey. Hang out with cool, normal people who are mature, and you'll be a lot more confident around them because they allow you to be yourself. And they're not weird. Like, it's just weird people would mess with my confidence. I wouldn't even be around them. And I've been around them in dating context or in other contexts, just weird people. I'm like, I can't even be around you. Elman is saying, if all attempted protocols of TRT still have me feeling mid, is my thyroid, and the thyroid is okay, what else would you look into fixing? Feeling, what do you mean feeling? In regards to what? Libido, sexual function, erectile function, energy, what? Because I guarantee you haven't tried everything regarding TRT. I mean, I've just rattled. Have you tried cream? How many clicks per day? In the AM or the PM or both? Scrotal injection, shoulder injection, chest injection, inner arm injection, or inner arm application, bicep application. Have you tried these things? Have you tried microdosing AIs? Have you tried switching AIs and microdosing? Well, have you tried test prop? Have you tried testosterone enanthate? Have you tried one injection a week versus daily? Have you tried it, every 3.5 days? Have you given 7 fucking weeks each time you changed a protocol in long esters? There's more you can do. Guaranteed. Aaron, I wake up some days with low energy, and when I take 250 milligrams of tyrosine, I feel better. Hours later, but 48 hours, I feel low. Should I do tyrosine daily? Possibly, yeah. It might be helping your thyroid hormones, which you'd probably want to look into. But yeah, I don't see an issue with taking tyrosine a lot. If you can tolerate it, take it. It's magical stuff if you can tolerate it, and it doesn't mess with anything. Some people, I mean, this is a theory, but some people have erectile dysfunction on tyrosine because it is, I mean, it's going to convert to norepinephrine, and norepinephrine actually inhibits penile erections. It's one of the things that acetylcholine is supposed to prevent from happening. But, in erectile tissues, in this long, complex cascade of things that, facilitate an erection. And so some people that take tyrosine end up having ED because of excess epinephrine. So you want to be careful with that. Brother. All right, bros. If you got questions, post them. Post them. We got specials on product. 25% off the Cortex stack, 35% off the Torque stack. Those are in the description of the video. The codes and the links for those products are in the description of this video. D-Tree, any advice on sub-Q TRT protocol, doing 170 testosterone enanthate with MCT oil and getting redness and irritation? Think it's the product. I mean, testosterone enanthate is a little more PIP, than other esters. Like it's nowhere near the post-injection pain of prop, but it can hurt with some people. Sub-Q will also do that with esters that can give you post-injection pain. If you can tolerate intramuscular injections, most people can. Some people can't though, because it just raises estradiol too quick, and they've got to start feeling all fucked up, and they've got to take an AI or something. Then do intramuscular or shallow intramuscular injections. Because with any ester that causes PIP, you're going to have less PIP if you do intramuscular injections. Yeah. I mean, all that benzoate, and maybe a little bit of the carrier oil, but like all the excess stuff, like sitting, pooling up in your skin is what's causing the problem. And that won't happen when you inject it intramuscularly. So that's what I would suggest you do. I don't know if you're doing every other day or every third day or whatever. Keep the same protocol if it's working for libido and erections, but change the administration method. And that will also affect libido and erections, so be careful. Just know that. You might have to take an AI. You might have to lower the dose. There's all kinds of things that change when you change the administration method. But, sub-Q works for some people perfectly, man. And others, it really, they can't get it to work. Hard for me to explain why, other than metabolic differences. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I could guess, but everyone who says they know is guessing on that. No, CoQ10 is not a nootropic. It's pretty good stuff though. Yeah, daily sub-Q. Got it. Yeah, if that's working for you, awesome. I mean, you could try going every other day. That will change the dynamics of the effects. Definitely. It's not just about the weekly dose. It's about how much you're injecting at once. But you'll have less PIP because you're injecting less. You know what I mean? So you're giving at least 24 hours more for that site to have less irritation, which is a good thing. That's why if you're going to dose prop, I mean, God, every day injections are so ideal. They feel really good, really, really good and peak in terms of energy, but they hurt, they hurt. Like that'd be the only reason that I'd go back on cream, which who knows? I mean, or cypionate or enanthate, because the prop PIP is very, very, it hurts. Well, libido caused by varicocele. How to fix this? Reduce libido, not including surgery. I don't know that there's a way to fix. I believe that's like a mass in the testicles, is it not? that is somehow blocking spermatogenesis or potentially testosterone synthesis. If surgery is the only way, surgery is the only way. Yeah, I don't really know a way around that. But maybe there is. I mean, I don't know. I've not looked into it. Good question though. I wish I could help you. And N is saying, any advice on how to improve ED after coming off first steroid cycle? 600 milligrams test enanthate and Susana. I did my blood work. Estrogen's really low at 8. Okay, so you were taking an AI. Yeah, I think you had to, get the estradiol back to 25 to 30. Learn how to keep it there, or like to allow it to go up to 35, 39. And then if you notice ED is like a little worsened, take a little bit of an AI, Anastrozole at 0.03, 0.06 milligrams. Get it back in that range, and then learn how to keep your body to stay there, and do not, don't run a 600 milligram dose of test. I mean, that's a cycle for sure. It's like a kind of beginner cycle or whatever, but it's a lot of testosterone, and with that is going to come the real problem with that is estradiol, right? That's the real big issue. I mean, hematocrit, etc. But estradiol, by the way, drives hematocrit more than people think. There's literature on that, published literature, so look into that. But yeah, I mean, it's a high dose of test. You're going to just convert a lot to estradiol. That's going to be problematic for erections, bottom line. Estradiol on TRT is the single biggest contributor to ED. That's it. Just it. Not my opinion either. It's true. It's actually true. It's just very true. Doesn't mean some anomalies can't sit at 60 picograms per milliliter. They can. Don't know how they do it. Good erectile genes, great blood flow, something else. Testos is very high, compensating for that, but even still, past a certain point, you're going to have ED. So, estrogen being at 8, I would not have ED, but I'd have like a lack of sensation and I'd have no libido at 8 estradiol. Yeah, that's what I would have being that low. But you got to get your hormones balanced, man. They're not in a good place. Elman, if doing once weekly injections, should Arimidex be dosed the day after the shot or microdose the entire week? If it were me and I was doing a bolus 1 injection per week, I would be dosing at, I don't know what your dose is here, but call it you're dosing 150 milligrams at once. First of all, I would have run many weeks of that, measuring estradiol at the peak, which would be day 3. And at the trough, which would be day 6, so that you can see where it's going. If on trough it's in range, it might not be problematic. If in the first 3 days or post-injection, you get headaches, fatigue, gyno-like symptoms are kind of rare really to have over time, and taking TRT, that kind of just goes away, or like, itchiness in the nipples goes away. But if you're feeling anything wacky, like ED, lack of libido immediately post-injection, your estradiol is just probably going super physiologic, at which point day after would be like the time to run 0.125, maybe 0.06, maybe 0.03. You don't know. Some people just respond very well to most people respond very well to anastrozole. So that's why this is titled TRT Tools, because these are 0.03 milligram little slabs of anastrozole, and those are very fucking clutch. No side effects, fixes erection quality if it goes awry, lowers estradiol just enough, not crashing it, not unhealthy, not going to mess with lipids, not going to mess with bone mineral density. So that'd be my suggestion on that, man. Is there a place for Masteron or Primabol instead of AI during TRT? Yes, and yes. There definitely is. Yep. Yeah, I mean, these things are, because they're synthetic DHT derivatives, they're either occupying, in some cases, they occupy the aromatase enzyme, but DHT in and of itself, and presumably DHT derivatives, also stop genetic action of estradiol post estrogen binding to estrogen receptors. So, like, it's twofold inhibiting estradiol, action and conversion. So, yes, and plenty of people do this. They'll use Primabol or Masteron while they're on TRT and not use an AI, while they're on like a higher dose of TRT, so that they can control estradiol and not have sexual dysfunction and stuff. So thank you, brother. I think icing the testicles is pretty overrated. Yeah, I think it's not going to do a whole lot unless your testosterone synthesis is pretty good as it is, and then it'll make it a little better. It's just, it's one of those things that got hyped up mainly by Lucas from Booster Biology, who is like a hype man more than anything. I mean, he's smart and scientific, but early on he was very hypey and weird. So no, I don't think that it's that effective. And I've done it natural. Didn't really move the needle. Topical minoxidil doesn't have libido ED side effects like finasteride, right? Not right. It can. DL Indo, when you cut your anastrozole, do you weigh it or just eyeball it? No, I'm eyeballing it, right? Because look, I mean, I've got this right here is a 0.06. If I can get it to focus, 0.06 milligram, half of what ultimately are 0.125 milligram tablets, which look like this. That's like a whole 0.125 milligram tablet. Cutting that in half makes it 0.06, and then cutting that in half again makes it 0.03. You know, there's you're not even really eyeballing it. It's pretty accurate at that point. Mr. Quinn is saying, what PEDs would you recommend for a competitive non-drug tested sprinter? Phenylpiracetam would be useful, yes. I mean, like anything that's going to raise testosterone levels would be pretty effective. You know, that's a good one. Ultimately, you probably want to run a little higher estradiol, not super high, but a little higher than 30. You'll get physical performance benefits from that, especially a lack of pain. You will not have pain on your joints. That's the one thing about lowering estradiol, that no matter what, you know, I mean, if you lower it a little bit with a very ideal dose of an aromatase inhibitor, most people just dose them entirely too high or wrong, then you won't really feel anything. But if you lower estradiol quickly and it's kind of a big jump, the injuries that you have that are probably being masked by estradiol will start to rear their head. And, oh, my back hurts a little bit here. Like, was my lower back hurt a little bit? That kind of thing. So estradiol is pretty protective of your joints and stuff. So I'd run androgens and you know, make estradiol not super physiologic, but a little higher than 30. That's probably what I'd say. Should I get my estrogen back to normal ranges with HCG and use a SERM? Could a SERM increase it by itself? No, a SERM may increase the estradiol just by nature of increasing your testosterone. It's going to block hypothalamic estrogen receptors, and you know, but estradiol will be around though either way. It doesn't just go away. It's just blocking the receptors. So HCG is your best bet to get estradiol back to normal if it's very low. High dose HCG and pretty high dose test, quite honestly. And more injections at once, like more at a time, more injected at a time. You know, if you run 70 milligrams cypionate every third day, you know, or what is that, 140? Well, it's like 160, 170 milligrams a week injected at once. That estradiol is going to go back up pretty quickly. Almost definitely. What is your evidence? I'm the guy that gets calls from people who are taking the shit. That's my fucking evidence. What AI would you recommend for someone trying to lower estrogen, increase T, but is not on testosterone? I can't in good faith like suggest taking an AI in that case. You got to do everything you can to raise testosterone. Yeah, I mean, you're basically talking about aromatase inhibitor monotherapy, which is effective in the scientific literature. I've read about it, but I wouldn't do it because, I mean, guys on testosterone that take a little bit of an AI, like 0.25 milligrams, they can crash their estrogen, man. Real easy. And then you're in for about a week of feeling like total dog shit, maybe more, pissing your brains out, not being able to hydrate adequately, like commensurate with how much you're urinating. Then you're just going to be dehydrated. Then your hematocrit's going to go up. Then you're going to feel terrible and all these things. So like, you know, if I were you, I would not want to do that. I would not try that. Simon Marshall saying, hey, I took modafinil earlier for the first time in ages. Great for a couple hours, but now gone tired. Lack of sleep anyway. Yeah, maybe Mucuna would help. You might have depleted dopamine a little bit. Or it's, I can't really explain the mechanism for this, but hardcore stimulation when your body can't handle, when your body doesn't have the resources to handle like potent stimulation can make you feel tired. Like it's depleting something and nobody knows what that is. So yeah, take a nap, get a B complex, get a good solid meal in, maybe do some cardio. You know, those things would help for sure. Pregnenolone may be worth supplementing for a natural, sure. Pregnenolone for people on TRT, useful too for repleting pregnenolone or getting it to adequate levels if it's not at adequate levels. I've not seen it be like wildly effective, honestly. So I'm not huge into it. I'd rather run HCG, and that's just kind of where I'm at with it. Any other questions, guys? If you got them, post them. This video is about TRT hacking tools, bro. And honestly, test prop, okay? Fast acting ester. Test cream. This shit is very potent, by the way. I mean, within 30 minutes, you're like borderline peaking. Pill cutter and 0.125 milligram anastrozole tablets. Those are the best tools to dial in a TRT protocol. Not saying you can't on sip and enthate sustanon. You can dial in, but those allow you to make micro adjustments, just enough of a change to get everything back and to dial in perfectly. I honestly, at this point, I might go back to a long ester because the post-injection pain is really the only big problem with test prop. It'd probably be enanthate, not cypionate, but who knows? And that is just the line on the bottom. Any other questions, guys? Thoughts on caffeine and cardiac output? It's not harmful, no, but it'll raise blood pressure a little bit and raise your heart rate a tad. But you know, caffeine's the most studied and most used drug on the planet, and I think it's pretty fine to be taking it. Yeah, I haven't been on caffeine for 4 months now, 3 months, 4 months. It's been a while. Yeah, I just cycle off because of the hell of it, and I don't feel like at this point, because I'm dosing testosterone propionate and like I think caffeine would probably make me feel uncomfortable. You know, I'm running a 9 ABPC cycle right now, so like that's sensitizes your response to stimulants too. So I think I would feel pretty crazy. I think caffeine's great if you can tolerate it. I mean, there are people that can't for various reasons, like conditions they have, where they can't tolerate caffeine. If you can tolerate it, it's one of the best things ever. Hey Ryan, did you notice a difference with DHEA and pregnenolone with HCG? Do you supplement with DHEA with HCG? I don't know. I don't know that I would notice a difference. I've never tried it. To me, it's overkill because my DHEA labs and pregnenolone labs look pretty great with HCG. They didn't look good without HCG. Element, is there a way to fix blood flow issues without Cialis? Cialis fixes the issue, can be done off Cialis. Well, it's like, here's the thing. Just because Cialis induces erections doesn't mean blood flow is your problem. Yeah, I didn't need to make that complex. Doesn't mean blood flow is your problem. Like your problem could be hormones, because hormones are mediators of ultimately of blood flow. Like it's just like blood flow is the issue. Well, nitric oxide is the major driver of that, and testosterone mediates that very heavily. Dopamine is a major driver of intrapenile blood flow, and testosterone mediates that heavily. Serotonin is a major inhibitor. Epinephrine is a major inhibitor of penile blood flow. So, you might need to be looking at other things to help modify that the right way. Otherwise, though, cardio is probably your best bet. Actual cardio, like, jogging, running, high intensity interval training, or doing like circuits at the gym with weights, like light weights where you're lifting a lot of reps really heavy and just kind of running to your next set. You're running to your next set and you're doing that for 40 minutes, really getting your heart rate going. For sure, like my erections are great. Again, the right dose of anastrozole, if they start getting weird, it's always estradiol that's inhibiting erections. But if I do cardio, like now that's nice out, I've been doing more cardio, my boners are fucking rock hard. They're just harder and they're more, they're just more in the middle of the night and throughout the day and whatever. So, and noticeably. So cardio would be honestly the best thing. I don't have a promo code for Defy. Could I get one? Maybe I'll look into that. RN is saying, I recently quit smoking cigarettes and I feel like I need less caffeine for some days and others I feel tired as fuck. What can I do to increase my steady state of energy, be more productive? I don't know what else is in your regimen, but again, testosterone, dopamine, acetylcholine, those are the main stimulants, like, stimulant agents that would make you feel pretty energized. I mean, you could try nicotine patches. I don't know how far down the rabbit hole like you want to go. Like, I don't know if you want, that'll mess with your recovery from not smoking cigarettes, but it'll make you want a cigarette or something. Who knows? But like 7 milligram nicotine patches feel like Adderall to me, and a lot of people, not just me. So, the patches might really, really help you. Otherwise, like, buy Torque, man. I mean, if anybody needs energy, just buy this thing. This is literally what I made this for. It's the best new. Obviously, I'm biased, right? And obviously, we want your business, but it's the best nootropic you'll ever take, no question. And you can literally buy it anytime you want and get a 30-day supply or 60-day supply at livecortex.com. That's my product. Back at you, bro. You're epic as well. Jordan G Unit, trying pure HMO powder. See how it works to avoid drinking baby formula. 5 days in so far. We'll see how it goes. Have you researched this option? No, but I have taken human milk oligosaccharides in the form of supplements, and it wasn't as effective as the baby formula. So, I mean, your mileage is going to vary, bro. I mean, watch my video on mastic gum as well, because, I mean, if you haven't measured bifido, you don't know if it's limited. I measured it, so I saw that it was lower than it should be, and that's why I ended up taking that stuff from long COVID. Long COVID induces deficiencies, and COVID induces deficiencies in bifidobacteria for some people. So, hey, look, man, the powder may work. Like, I noticed feeling better and my gut working better like mere days after starting the baby formula. So, your mileage is going to vary. I think it could be a matter of it taking 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. You never know. I'd say stick with it, brother. Go from there. Josh is saying low energy and tired, but I had to lower my dose of TAS-C and Pregno from 140, 1750 to cholesterol being too high. I mean, I think there are other things you can do to modulate cholesterol, so you probably want to look into those things, like whether it's Naranjan, which also will lower hematocrit over a couple month period. It's an extract from grapefruit, or other things, cardio, eating a little less red meat, etc. Probably lower your cholesterol a bit. But I'm sorry that had to happen. If you lowered your dose of testosterone and you have low energy, that usually will balance out. And if you didn't lower it to something ridiculous like 70 or 100 milligrams, then that's probably going to balance out and you'll feel pretty good in a couple weeks' time. That'd be my suggestion. Josh got some flush niacin. Hell yeah, that stuff is very effective. I mean, effective for a lot of stuff. Cardiovascular system, erections. It's pretty cool. Do I have knowledge on no porn flatline? Flatlining meaning, yeah, things were going well when you didn't do porn for a while, and then they went unwell randomly. Yeah, I mean, if you're getting any variations from NoFap, etc., that's because largely what NoFap is bullshit. I'm just gonna say it, like, it's purely bullshit. The benefit you get from NoFap is you don't release excessive prolactin daily or twice daily. Prolactin inhibits gonadotropins, which inhibit testosterone synthesis intratesticularly. That's why people go NoFap and have a good time. It has nothing to do with dopamine. You're not going to like revive dopamine by not looking at porn. That's not how it works at all. Ask any neuroscientist about that. You get down to the real deep levels of understanding exactly what happens here. You're not doing anything there. So what's happening here is if you have some positive effect and then negative effect is, well, you probably need to work on hormones too, to optimize erectile function and libido at the same time as, not watching porn or not excessively masturbating as to increase prolactin excessively. So, if you get some benefit from NoFap or no porn, which ultimately means NoFap, you don't watch porn and not masturbate. I mean, some people do, right? But what is NoFap or what is no porn? It means you don't jerk off and you're not fucking secreting excess prolactin. That's it. There's no difference in watching porn versus not watching porn. There's no difference, guys. It's the prolactin secretion that's constant that inhibits gonadotropins, which really fucks you up when you watch porn. So, that's the bottom line. If you're having good positives and then some negative happens when you're not watching porn, well, it's because reducing porn and masturbation isn't the only way. It just gets too much credence to fix sexual dysfunction. You got to work on hormones too. Leaving DHT aside, through what mechanism is testosterone anxiolytic? People on high dose dutasteride Still say TRT reduces anxiety. Hard to say, man. And it's optimizing dopamine pathways, which when optimized correctly can make you feel very relaxed and chill. At the same time, God, what did I recently realize? There was a GABAergic mechanism of testosterone. I forget. I believe there is a GABAergic mechanism for it, though. At the same time, though, like estradiol is probably playing a major role here in synthesizing serotonin receptors and possibly having an effect on GABA as well. So it's not just testosterone, it's estradiol as well. Other than like a molecular or neurotransmitter or chemical-based explanation, testosterone is the male hormone. It is like singularly what will make you feel like a male. And when you feel strong and like a male, you will be more confident as a result of that. Aron just started taking Zyn to replace nicotine. Good luck. Does triacetylurine work better for some people than UMP? Yes, but not everybody. Would you use HCG for a month, turn off your LH from your HPTA, and then stop using it? I mean, you'd shut down LH and FSH from using HCG. Yep. Would you recommend a serum after doing HCG? Possibly, yeah. Clomid would probably turn everything back on pretty quickly. Clomid can give you a lot of side effects via excess estrogen, though, despite it blocking the receptors. So you might want to just, when you're done HCG, do nothing and see how you recover naturally. You'll probably feel okay. Josh is recovering from PSSD and anhedonia. Test at 140 felt manly. And if that makes sense, but the lower dose makes you feel less of a man. I want to run cycle 9 MBC with high doses. Yeah, so yeah, I would really, really rigorously look into what will lower, blood levels of triglycerides, cholesterol. Watch Vigorous Steve's channel because he talks about that a lot. Go to Vigorous Steve's channel, watch his live streams. There'll be one today at like noon or 1, and he'll probably get a question like that, or comb through all his previous live streams because he suggests all kinds of shit to lower cholesterol, whether it's citrus bergamot or XX or X. And I imagine it's all very effective. So that's what I would suggest doing, because if you need to be on higher doses to feel better, you need to be on higher doses to feel better. You also maybe want to convince your doctor that like high HDL, like, 10 points or something above 100 isn't necessarily bad, because I don't think that it is. Why does flatline happen? Because you're not addressing your sexual dysfunction in the right way. Something else besides not watching porn or watching porn and masturbating a lot is causing you to have sexual dysfunction. It's probably your hormones. Again, the NoFap is largely bullshit. You only get a benefit from it because you're not secreting a bunch of prolactin excessively from climaxing, which happens when you masturbate, which happens when you watch porn. Dietrich, if I'm switching to TRT to HCG monotherapy, how would you do it? I would honestly just stop taking testosterone, and I'd give it a week and keep the HCG dose like exactly the same as you were taking if you were taking on TRT. And then after a week, I would raise it to 25 to 5,000 IU, 2,500 to 5,000 IU a week. That's what I would do if I were you. I mean, you could just also alternatively just start your bolus injection of HCG the next day, or give your TRT 2-3 days to start, lowering and half-lifing out of the system. If it's SIP and enthate, whatever, it's going to be out soon enough. And then start your high-dose HCG. Which racetam would you recommend to stack with aniracetam for processing speed? I'd rather stack teacrine with aniracetam for processing speed. Yeah. Other racetams getting in the mix, you got to medium dose all of them instead of high dosing them all, or high dosing one and medium dose on the other. You got to medium dose them together. There you get the best effect. But you start stacking racetams and you don't know which doses work well for you. You're just going to cause side effects. So speed of processing, I'd bring in teacrine. I cannot recommend a phenibutyricamillin dosing schedule. I wouldn't dose phenibut and picamillin together. Not a good idea. During unit, father has Alzheimer's or had Alzheimer's. Stepfather's father had Alzheimer's. So far, he shows no signs in mid-60s. That's great. Is he concerned? He's concerned, right? Any nootropics to prevent. If you want the best answer, it'd probably be to run a cycle of cerebrolysin. That means he's going to have to inject 2 milliliters or 5 milliliters a day of cerebrolysin, in his vastus lateralis. But maybe that's what you do. Otherwise, I mean, you probably want to look into mimicking the ingredients in a drink from Australia called Souvenade. Souvenaid. Souvenade. That would be my suggestion on that. Bucko. Is it good to stick to staunch daily? One type is better between tubulosa? Yeah, tubulosa is the one that I believe has good rat and human studies on it increasing testosterone concentrations by between 17 and 40 something percent, something crazy. Yeah, that's what I would do. Josh, LDL was 124, and that is high. Should be at 100. And for HDL, are you taking an AI? Because they influence, lipids. If so, maybe work on optimizing thyroid hormone so that you have a better control of estradiol, not drinking booze, definitely losing weight. The moment you get lean, you're just going to aromatize a lot less. Like when I got on TRT, I wasn't fat, but I wasn't like lean and in great shape. So I aromatized more. Still not a lot, but more. Now, I don't aromatize a lot at all. So it's easier. I mean, the way that I use AIs is 0.03 milligrams of anastrozole. Again, pill cutter. 0.125 milligram tablets. Pill cutter. Split in half again, 0.03. Fixes everything. Melatonin every night. It's just up to you, really. I mean, I don't know. Some people get great benefit from it. Some people feel nothing. For me, I noticed it 3 milligrams, and within 40 minutes, it just onsets, and I'm like, okay, I'm tired. I'm like, it's just that you're manufacturing, the tired state that you would feel naturally at some point after you lay down. You're just like speeding it up. You're making it happen sooner. I really never had any negatives from melatonin that I remember, except for 6+ milligrams, and I'd feel groggy the next day. Pretty much it. Stacking racetams together. Again, you want to medium dose them all. Aniracetam, oxiracetam at 400 or 500 each, or 450 each would actually be better. Would be pretty perfect. Nootropics for doing math. PRL 853. That'd be either that or Hydra 21 would be my suggestions on nootropics that will help, processing. Huperzine A would be another. That stuff is pretty effective for cholinergic signaling, which is the kind of what you need for math and logical processing. I told a story, and I'll tell it quickly again, of overdosing Huperzine A at 1,000 micrograms 15 years ago because I was an idiot, where I tried to go to sleep because I had such weird symptoms. And while I was sleeping, I induced sleep paralysis happened, but I was conscious of it. Weird. And processing a bunch of logical shit in my brain at the same time. So Huperzine A is pretty effective. All right, boys, I'm going to end the stream. I hope you've gotten some value out of this stream coming Thursday. Either Monday or Tuesday, a podcast, an hour long or more, with Vigorous Steve and I is launching on his channel. All right, so Vigorous Steve, just how it sounds, on his channel. We did a long catch-up podcast about TRT and androgens and fucking DHT derivatives and estrogen and nootropics and my 9-MEBC cycle. It's long, it's information dense, it is funny, it is epic, it is good vibe, and it's launching this coming week, all right? So it'll be on Vigorous Steve's channel. I'll do like a preliminary video and link you guys over to it when that video launches. But yeah, podcast of me and Vigorous Steve launching this week. Look forward to that. Look, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you're ready for the spring and it's nice where you are and you can go out and get some fresh air and do some cardio. It really matters. We've all been sitting in our houses for 5 months. It's just ridiculous. The winter is ridiculous unless you live in Florida. And so get out if you can, even if it's by yourself. I'm going to go out by myself, here in a little bit and just walk for 3 miles. I can't wait. So go do that. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you guys for saying thank you. Appreciate your questions. Looking forward to the next stream to serve you guys with some more shit. Simon, thanks for your questions and for your presence. Everybody else, have a great day and have a great evening.